All right, welcome back to another one of our film reviews. Today we are talking Pittsburgh Steelers rookie defender Jack Sawyer, obviously with the injuries to first TJ Watt, now to Herbig. All eyes are going to turn to Jack Sawyer and some of these reserves on the Steelers defense to step up down the stretch. And when you look at Jack Sawyer and what he did in Pittsburgh's most recent victory, I think you're looking at a talented, versatile defender who can check a lot of boxes for Pittsburgh. We'll break down everything he does so well. As always, in the comment section below, give us any feedback you might have. If you're a fan of these film reviews and want to help support us so we can do more of them, consider becoming a member of our channel. There's a link in the description box below that will take you right there. But without further ado, let's jump right into the film. All right, let's get started with the run defense, and there's Sawyer, number 33, right there on the left side of your screen. And this is going to be an interesting concept here for Miami. We're going to get a base block right here on Sawyer, double team action right here, working up to the next level, double team action right here, working up to the next level, and base block right here, tight end on number 56. But it's almost a design cutback. The running back's going to take the handoff and then work back this direction. The Dolphins insert the receiver to kind of lead through the hole just like that. I want you guys to watch Sawyer, number 33 here again. He does a great job with team run defense, great technique. This is what the Steelers need down the stretch, again, in their run fits. Let's check it out. There's a snap. There's a handoff. There's a cutback. Nowhere to really go. Good defense all around. Nice job. All right, let's break down Sawyer. Again, we're looking at team run defense and run fits here. Get a little double team action right there. They're able to find off the double team. Good work by 93. But here's the thing about Sawyer. I want you guys to look at his technique. And it's a little thing, but it's important. See how he's parallel to the line of scrimmage, hips, knees, shoulders, engaging with the tackle, holding the edge of the defense. There's the cutback right here. And only when he sees the running back run into the pile does he find off the block and join the tackle to stuff the running back. It's a little thing, right? It's not a highlight film play or anything like that. But I wanted to start with this because this is what the Steelers need to be when it comes to their team run defense. Obviously, stopping the run has been an issue for Pittsburgh for large parts of the season. And I think it could be the one thing to disrupt their chances of winning the division and returning to the postseason and hopefully getting a playoff win. But I think Sawyer subbing in for some of these injured guys, he plays good, fundamentally sound run defense. He's not perfect, and we're going to play later on in the film review that I want to talk about. But I think he plays with good technique, good leverage. Again, you can see inside arm strong, parallel to line of scrimmage, and only fights off the block and goes inside once the running back has committed. Again, nothing special here except good teamwork across the board. Look at this from the Steelers' defensive perspective. Look at all the gaps. They've got everything covered, right? We've got both guys, 56 and Sawyer, doing their job as contained players. We got gaps covered across the board inside. This is good team run defense. Sawyer, 6, 93, 41, 97, 56. Everyone doing their job. All right, from the wide copy, you see Sawyer right there in the middle of your screen. Engage with the tackle, set the edge. Now fight through the block and be part of the tackle. Nice job. Again, you can see 56 and 33 basically look exactly the same, right? You can see both basically parallel to line of scrimmage, inside arm strong, contain. Good work. Team defense. Gap control on the inside. Safeties flying downhill. DBs fitting where they need to be. Good team run defense. Obviously wasn't perfect all night long against Miami, but this kind of team effort across the board in the front seven to stop the run, this will propel Pittsburgh into the postseason. I think run defense is their biggest weakness by far on this defense. We've seen it a lot this season. We saw it against the Bills. We've seen it as, against a team even like the Jets, for example. I think Pittsburgh, with Jack Sawyer filling in with the injuries, they can be good enough because he does a good job with his fundamentals, with his responsibilities, well-coached guy coming out of Ohio State. I think with the injuries, with the subs coming in, there's always a risk that the backups are going to be a little undisciplined, a little unsure of themselves. Won't be the case with 33. He knows his assignments. All right, this next play may have been the play of the day from Sawyer, and there he is right there on the left side of your screen, lined up in kind of an outside linebacker look. He's basically going to drop into coverage at the snap, and the running back's going to leak out this direction just like this. Now, obviously, from the Dolphins' perspective, they would have said, okay, if we get a really good running back, our great athlete, on a defensive end outside linebacker, that is a win for us. That's a huge mismatch. But it turns out Sawyer, he can get it done and execute at a high level, covering running backs in coverage. Again, a special play from the rookie. Let's check it out. There's a snap. It's got time. Running back leaks out. Quarterback tries to scramble around. Scrambling around. Looking for somewhere to go with the football. Throws it up. Incomplete pass. There's Sawyer with the coverage. Nice job. We'll look at it from the wide copy here in just a second. There he is. There's Sawyer again dropping into coverage. Picks up the running back. Stays with him. Stays with him the entire time. Locks him down. Scramble drill. Stays with it. Again, no dumb penalties, right? How many times do we see, if I back it up right here, do we see defenders, they tackle, they don't turn back to the quarterback? It becomes a free first single at the one because the coverage guy, doesn't look for the football and it becomes pass interference. Not with Sawyer, not with 33. Again, fundamentally sound, smart football player. Is he as dynamic as some of these other outside linebackers in terms of rushing the passer? No, but he's a versatile guy. He can do a lot of things really well. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife kind of tool for this Pittsburgh defense, if I'm being totally honest. I think the Steelers will have to come up with creative ways to use him, and they already have in this game, and they've done it in different games earlier this season. I think Sawyer's a guy who can be used in very clever situations, especially in tough games like against the Baltimore Ravens coming up for probably the division when it's all said and done. I think Sawyer will become a key player for him, again, showing off the athleticism and talent and coverage. All right, let's talk about pass rush now with Sawyer, and there he is on the left side of your screen. I mentioned earlier that he's not as skilled as some of the starters for the Steelers, but he can still do some good things, and this is an example of it right here. It's going to be one-on-one with chip help. The tight end's going to chip before he releases, and the tackle's going to be one-on-one with Sawyer in this situation. And 33 does a good job here using speed to power. A lot of edge rushers, right, they like to do funky outside moves. They like to do, spin moves or swim moves or something crazy. Sawyer here just sticks to the basics, right? Works up the field vertically and then fires through the tackle to get pressure on Tua. Tua gets rid of the football before Sawyer can get there. But this is what I want to see from number 33 going forward when it comes to the pass rush. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. Quarterback steps up, hits the tight end, a little check down. Steelers make the tackle. It's the last play of the game. There it is. And everyone starts celebrating. Nice win. Huge win. All right, let's look at Sawyer. Right here, works through the chip, beats the inside arm. That's nice work. That's what I want to see from 33. Speed to power all day long. Again, you can see how he threatens vertically right here. Now goes straight inside. That's what I want. And beats him. Don't do any cute speed moves. Don't do, any swim moves or spin moves or anything like that. That's not your game, at least not right now, number 33. And this is what I want to see. Now, there are a few plays over the course of the game where he does some pass rush moves where he gets a little too cute with it. And that's what I don't like. This kind of speed to power working the inside, again, threatening vertically right here. You see how he threatens vertically up the field? Now goes strong inside through the left arm of the right tackle. That's good work. That will allow you to generate pressure. Filling in for the injuries, this is what you want from a backup pass rusher. Nice work here from 33. Again, nothing cute, nothing fancy, just physical football, forcing the quarterback off the spot. Nice work. All right, from the wide copy, get a good look at Sawyer right there. Again, avoids the chip, works through the inside arm, pressure on the quarterback. So what's all about right here. Again, Tua's getting rid of the ball quick and early. It's the last play of the game. He's just trying to check it down so they can get out of Pittsburgh. It's cold. It's miserable. They all want to go back to South Florida. I get it from their perspective. But from Sawyer's perspective, again, good work. Beats the chip, beats the inside arm. This is what you need, right? You don't need anything cute or clever, right? That's what you got Watt for. And again, I understand he's banged up. Hopefully he can come back after that freaky thing. And, of course, we know Herbig's injury. But the reality is, come postseason time, you're not an all-pro speed pass rusher. You're not Khalil Mack. You're not Micah Parsons. You're not Watt. So don't do anything cute. Just play good fundamental speed to power pass rush technique. And that's what we see here for number 33. And that's all I want to see from him going forward in these situations. All right, how about Sawyer being a disruptive force in the run game? And there he is at outside linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's going to be an inside run concept here for the Miami Dolphins. They're trying to go north and south, just trying to attack inside. And they've got a lot of blockers here. And they're going to have 85 work out this direction to kind of kick out Sawyer. But Sawyer sees it coming a mile away. He beats 85 inside and basically blows up the entire play. 28's trying to attack this hole. He ends up having to bounce it way over here, and the Steelers help really gather around the football for a big tackle. But again, Sawyer, he's the guy that makes the play. This is another element in the Steelers' run defense that's been missing. Having a bunch of playmakers, guys that can fire off the edge or fire from the linebacker position and just cause chaos. I think this is a key tool for the Steelers going forward, using Sawyer in this manner. Let's check it out. There's a snap. There's a handoff. Has to bounce it. Gather the football. Minimal gain. All right, let's break down Sawyer here. You can see the place designed to go inside, right? Basically, the double team is right here. You're trying to attack basically right up the hash. And they've got a chance here. If Sawyer's not there, right behind 73, they could crease him. But watch what Sawyer does here. Again, he beats 85 inside right there, and the running back sees it, has to bounce it outside. This is really good. 85's whole job, his whole livelihood is dependent on keeping Sawyer outside. And he fails because Sawyer beats him across his face. Again, it's ugly football from the outside linebacker, from the edge player, from Sawyer's perspective. It's not fun. You're throwing your helmet in there. You're throwing your shoulder in there. Probably not going to make the tackle because the running back's going to see you and bounce it outside. But again, it's good team defense. It's a winning football, and that's what Sawyer provides. This is one of the many reasons why he was so big for Ohio State in their championship run. Obviously, he was a very productive player. Obviously, All-American, All-Star, all kind of stuff there. But he plays good team defense. He's willing to sacrifice his body to help the team come up with big stops and big wins, just like we see here. Nice job from 33. All right, from the wide copy, you see Sawyer right there. Again, beat 85 inside, running back bounces, cavalry arrives, minimal gain. I'll give credit where credit is due. 28 finishes his run pretty hard. Right there, running through guys, getting an extra yard or two after contact. Good job by him. But again, Sawyer blows this play up. This is a play that hits. You can see they got the hash right there. It looks like a mess, but they've got bodies. If Sawyer isn't beating 85 inside, there's a chance this creases up to the next level. And this is how the Dolphins have beaten people, right? They just kind of hand it off, just keep working, and then bang, they just crease you with a huge running play. That's how they like to operate. And a lot of times it happens because teams get a little lazy with blocks on the outside. They sit there and say, okay, this guy's kicking me out. I'll just stay outside, and hopefully some guys on the inside, the tackles or linebackers, will make the play. And then Miami just blows the lid off with a huge run. But Sawyer, again, ugly work here, just completely negates it. Running back sees Sawyer inside right there, has to bounce it, forces a minimal play. Again, doesn't get noticed on the stat sheet. Announcers don't talk about it, but it's just good, fundamental team defense. Nice work. All right, this is one of my favorite use cases of Sawyer that the Steelers have come up with. You can see he's right there lined up, basically in a middle linebacker kind of position, walked up near the line of scrimmage. Now it's a short yardage situation for the Miami Dolphins trying to convert here for a first down, and they're going to run it right up the middle here with Ollie Gordon. But what the Steelers do here, because they fire Sawyer inside, it creates all kinds of chaos, because this is supposed to be right here, a base block out here, insert getting up to the DB, running back attacking right here with the double team, working up to the linebacker right here, backside scoops here, working up to next level, blocking out here, and potentially watching for the linebacker firing right there. That's how it's supposed to work. But because Sawyer fires inside right here, the guard comes off early, the tackle has to stay on, and no one picks up 6 Queen, and he blows the play up. Again, chaos agent, disruptive force. Not on this stat sheet, but affecting the game. Let's check it out. There's a snap. There's a handoff. Queen's there. Big tackle for loss. Nice job. Again, Sawyer doesn't make the play. He just fires inside, occupies a blocker, does his job. But you can see right here, that means Queen goes unblocked. Nice work. One of the things from Queen's perspective, making the play, nice work from Sawyer too. Good job across the board. Again, team defense for Pittsburgh. This only works, however, if you've got a guy that's smart that you can trust. Because you can't just take many rookie outside linebackers and line them up right here and expect them to, execute and be comfortable with it, and the very next play put him back on the outside, and then put him in coverage, and then have him rush the passer, right? And then have him blow up an inside run by taking on a tight end fullback. There's very few veterans, let alone rookies, that do that. And that's what Sawyer's biggest strength is. He's smart. He's versatile. He can do a lot of different things. He can line up all over the place. Is he a guy that's going to be a volume producer in terms of sacks, tackles for loss, things like that? I don't think so. But he's a Swiss Army knife tool for the Steelers defense, like we see here, and he can unleash his teammates. All right, for the wide copy, you can see Sawyer walk up to the line of scrimmage there, backs up, walks up, guard has to take him, and no one picks up Queen. This is such a good design because no team is going to have an answer for this, guys. Because you can't leave Sawyer on block because obviously he'll make the tackle for loss. But that means Queen's on block. So what do you do here if you're the Dolphins, right? You have to basically negate this personnel and say, okay, we got to take one of our wide receivers off the field. But if you do that, then suddenly you're not nearly as explosive an offensive football team, and one thing leads to another. This is what having versatile players can do, having good, smart football players can do. Listen, TJ Watt and Herbig are outstanding, and I think they could probably make plays like this. But Sawyer, as a rookie, is the guy that teams aren't going to game plan for. They're not going to have a cut up of film to say, hey, we got to look out for number 33 like they would for number 90. So they'll be able to move him around, put him in a bunch of different situations, and it's going to cause chaos for the opposition over the next few weeks. I expect Sawyer to line up inside, outside, stand-up linebacker, line of scrimmage, walked up to line of scrimmage, traditional defensive end. I expect they'll put him in a bunch of different situations down the stretch and use him to unleash his teammates. All right, I wanted to take a quick break from today's video to talk about something we're excited to offer, and that is weekly giveaways of a lot of high quality stuff. We appreciate our viewers, and that's why we want to give you guys the opportunity to join these weekly giveaways. There's a link in the description box below that takes you right to it. And this week we're talking about a $350 Yeti Tundra cooler like you see on the screen in front of you. Again, just go to the link in the description box below, enter in your email, and you have a chance to win. The drawings will be made every Sunday. You'll be announced whether you won via email, so make sure you check that out. Again, appreciate our viewers. Now let's get back to the video. All right, let's talk about something Sawyer needs to work on, and there he is, number 33 right there on the right side of your screen. It's going to be another running play. They're going to bring the fullback in motion pre-snap this direction. He's going to block out on Sawyer right there. We've seen him blow up this play before, but here he gets a little confused by number 18. 18 works up the field and then kind of discombobulates Sawyer for a second, and then he gets blocked out, and he kind of gets out of whack with his footwork. It's not a great play. And this is something that can happen to really smart cerebral players. Sometimes they can think a little too much. He sees a slot receiver and sees him work up the field. It's like, okay, should I do something with him? And by the time he reacts to what's going on in front of him, he gets blocked, right? And he's out of the play. Something he needs to work on is, again, finding that good balance between really smart, high IQ, and maybe a little too smart. Let's check it out. All right, there's a pre-snap motion. There's a snap. There's a handoff up the middle. Good defense. Queen again. Nice play. Let's get Sawyer right here on the right side of your screen. Right edge defender, there he is. He sees the fullback crash down inside, but he sees 18. He goes outside. Then by the time he looks at 30, he's already blocked out. Now, look, this isn't a disaster play at all from Jack Sawyer, but it negates his biggest strength, or one of the biggest strengths, like we've already shown, beating people inside and blowing up run plays. And this is a situation, and you can see he looks all out of whack, right? 18, do I have him? Nope. Do I have 30? And by the time he recognizes the run play inside, the play's over for him. And you can see his technique. He's not parallel to the line of scrimmage. We talked about with the very first play, right? You can see his feet. He's perpendicular to the line of scrimmage. Shoulders, knees, hips, perpendicular to the line of scrimmage. Not where you want to be. This is something that can happen to smart players. They lose their technique when something funky happens in front of them because they overthink it just a hair. And I think with more repetition, with more plays, Sawyer will clean this kind of thing up. But this is definitely something for him to work on. Again, I love his intelligence. I love his versatility. But it comes with a downside, like every strength, right? Everything's a double-edged sword. This can be the one weakness, overthinking sometimes. All right, from the wide copy, you see Sawyer right there in the bottom of your screen. There's the motion. See how he gets distracted by 18? I mean, it's really quick, but you can see his head right there. What are you doing? He's not your guy. I don't understand what he's doing right there. Probably because he's trying to be very aware, a smart player, cerebral player. He sees this happen. He tries to process quickly. And by the time he realizes he shouldn't do that, he's blocked. And again, bad technique. You can see parallel to the line of scrimmage. Nope, perpendicular to the line of scrimmage. Not a terrible play. It's not like a disaster play, but this is something that happens every once in a while with Sawyer and other smart players. Again, you get a little confused. You're trying to react to what's happening in front of you. Sometimes just do your assignment and play good football. And when he does that and can be a disruptive force, he's a huge weapon for Pittsburgh. I think with more repetition, he won't fall for any of the cheese or the window dressing like what happens right here. Again, with 18 running right by him. Something for him to clean up, though, for sure. All right, this is another really smart play from Sawyer, and there he is on the left side of your screen, number 33 right here. And this is a concept the Miami Dolphins like to do. They have number 28, their running back, lined up as a slot receiver here, and they're going to bring him in motion pre-snap like he's going to line up in a normal running back position. Then he's going to go in motion and sprint this direction, and the quarterback, Tua, normally will throw him the football because they think 28, and correctly they think this about 28. He's a really good athlete, can make people miss in space and create big plays. But Sawyer does a great job. He studies the film. He recognizes what's coming. He sees the action going to him, and he takes it away by getting it to his throwing lane. Nice job by the rookie. Let's check it out. There's motion. There's the snap. Looks that way. Sawyer took it away. Tua now has a scramble. Ends up completing the football for a big score. Good play by Tua Tagovailoa. Nice job by the quarterback. But again, you can see Sawyer. Let me go all the way back to the motion. He sees it coming, guys. Look at his eyes. Right off the rip. He's looking at him the entire way. Look where his eyes go immediately at the snap. He's looking right at him. Smart player. He knows what's coming. Studies the film. Takes it away immediately. Tua looks that way, nowhere to go. Sawyer's there to cut it off. Now it becomes a scramble drill. And sometimes you lose a scramble drill. Sometimes it happens, right? And we see that all the time in the National Football League. You would ideally like 95 and 97 not to get kind of caught up on the inside right there so that the quarterback couldn't escape. But listen, it happens. And I give credit to Sawyer, too, here. After taking away, he's still hustling, still trying hard, playing hard, trying to get to the quarterback when it's all said and done. But the reality is, this is what Sawyer brings. Intelligence, versatility, taking away what offenses like to do. We saw it in the run game. We saw it sometimes in pass rush. We saw it in coverage against the running back. He can do a lot of different things and do a lot of different things very well. Now, obviously, he's not the elite pass rusher of a Watt or a Herbig, but I think he's a Swiss Army knife kind of playmaker that can be incredibly valuable for the Steelers down the stretch.